utter shock that I have to listen to a man who came from his country to come and tell me about patriotism when he probably doesn't even do a thing about his own country that's about to change the constitution and allow for 2030 to happen. I've never heard Mr. Sibanda say a single thing to try and stand up for the people of Zimbabwe and stand up for his country. So he's the last person to tell me about patriotism and how I should exercise patriotism in my country. I'm not the one on a Zimbabwean national television platform fighting to get other South Africans documented in Zimbabwe, first of all. Second of all, Mr. Sibanda, my surname is Zuma. I'm Mrs. Zuma to you.
I mean, you would notice that for quite a number of years, over a decade now, the department has been putting directives to try and cope with, the delays that are taking place there. And I am sure that the bulk of these delays are not because, the department really is understaffed, but they are calculated to create bottlenecks that then force, the people that are making applications to be channeled to the, non-formal, the corrupt system where they have to go and pay to try and expedite. As we have seen that some people, their visas seem to be out on the 21st and on the 22nd money is coming in. Because every time when you deal with people that are making applications, you hear people talking about, that they've got to push, they've got to speak with people that are pushing for their papers to come out. So we have got indeed, a coordinated, corrupt system that has got very two willing parties that are interested in making sure that they can corrupt the whole system.
You are sitting here telling us about all kinds of corruption that's happening at Home Affairs, but have you ever for once reported the corruption? Because seemingly you know all the ins and outs. So if this report of SIU did not come out, when are we going to hear all these revelations that you know, Mr. Sibanda? It shows that you know and you're part of the system that is enabling all this corruption to happen, but you're not going to stop it because it enables Zimbabweans to leave their country and come here and reap our country and take off all our resources to benefit you as Zimbabweans. And you're not going to stand up for Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe because you don't have the guts to. That's why you only have guts here in South Africa, because you know that when you're in Zimbabwe, you're a small cat. Also, Mr. Sibanda, let me tell you, for the longest time we've been saying to you that there are too many illegal immigrants in this country, and you are busy telling us about ZDPs and all these refugee statuses, etc., etc. Now, do you consider a person that has fraudulently occupied and received documents to be in South Africa a person who is legally in the country? Of course not. That person is an illegal immigrant, and you, Mr. Sibanda, are also involved in that corruption. Why are you not telling Katlego that you also are trending and you are in the newspaper and in the news for fraudulently getting documents to be in South Africa? Now you've got a television platform that allows you to speak, and you think that you have been accused of standing up and admitting that you also went into that system and corruptly entered into South Africa. Why are you not telling the truth, Mr. Sibanda?
The people that are then, tasked with making sure that they control, the coming and going out of people need to make sure that they can deal with the criminals that want to corrupt the system, because the buck stops with them. The ethical requirements, the commitment, the mere fact that somebody is paid a salary to do certain work means that they must be satisfied with their work. They will come across many types of criminal activities that they must, they must see from a distance. They must be able to decipher, investigate, and see that, okay, this is criminal, this is not genuine, this is legitimate.
First of all, why do people who have problems in their country end up being a problem to other people's countries? This is the biggest problem that I have with the people like Dr. Sibanda, because he is talking about an African diaspora, but now he's not talking about solutions for Africa. He's talking about bringing people to South Africa and making them comfortable with getting documentations to stay in South Africa.
The system at the Department of Home Affairs is not by mistake. It is something that is calculated to ensure that people then end up not following the formal process of making applications, because then people are going to go and use the route where they are going to pay money, because it appears as if the department is broken, the system is broken. The exiting country does not have a responsibility to control people going out of its own country, because they allow people, to go out. When we talk of patriotism, unfortunately, patriotism is what, Ms. Ngobese, Zuma thinks it is, to stand and say, I'm defending, I don't want people coming into my country. That is not patriotism. Patriotism is basically saying that it's not about just hatred, it is about serving. And when you serve, you've got laws. And if the laws are not working, you campaign properly and make sure that those laws are basically changed. Not to go out and misdirect people and rally people to do things that are basically unlawful. Because that is what we are running away from.
Being on television must not absolve you from the truth of who you are.
Right.
And you are a Zimbabwean that's running away from who you really are, and that is a person that is in the country fraudulently, that has been given platforms to speak, and you're using that to paint yourself as a victim. You are not a victim. You are part of the corrupt system, and you're not helping this country in any way. You
So
need to go
Jacinta,
back to Zimbabwe and fix it for yourself and for your children and their future.